live stream to the meeting. Okay. Je t'ai posté le lien.
Yep.
And I'm waiting for the live to go up.
On my end, I can see the live. It's okay.
You can see it because here I can't see it, but maybe it's my browser.
Yeah, it's working on my end.
It is working on your end. Okay, so we are live.
It's working.
Officially. Thank you, Greg, for being my eye on the internet. Yeah. And I'm waiting for the live to go up. Okay, so we are live officially. Welcome everybody, and welcome Greg. Greg, how are you doing? Where are you today in the world? Because I've seen you travel all around the place. So tell us a little bit about where you are today.
Yeah, first one, I really try to travel less and less because it's taking too much time, and I really prefer to be in front of my computer, coding, managing data. For the moment, I'm in the middle of the Silicon Valley, California.
Okay, nice. Have you been living there for a long time?
10 years. 10 years
oh,
now.
10 years. Oh, okay. Yeah. And I seen that you have a little bit of an accent. Where are you from?
Oh, I've got a pretty beautiful French accent. And yeah, as you can imagine, some work that I still need to do, but as I'm a leader dev, it's very hard for me to correct my accent. And so that's it. Yeah, definitely.
You're probably soon going to have a device with an AI correcting your accent, right?
Absolutely. I believe definitely on this kind of stuff, and it will arrive sooner than what we can expect. I really love, I love to watch movies with my kids and said, oh my, you see this old movie like 5-10 years, not so old at the level of the universe, and saying, okay, this technology is existing now.
Yeah, the world is moving so fast. But
before
we dig into the topic, I want to make sure that the audience knows who you are. So let me tell you all a little bit about Greg. As I mentioned before, Greg is a world-renowned expert in the field of artificial intelligence and machine learning, with over 2 decades of experience in the field. He's been at the forefront of major technology trends from NLP, natural language processing, and spoken dialogue systems to emotional AI and voice search. In addition to his work in academia, Gregory is also a speaker at TEDx, as well as a co-founder, advisor, business angel for several nonprofit organizations, including the NASA Frontier Development Lab. You have to tell us a little bit about this later in the show. But also, you're advising the American, the French, and the Belgian governments. And you're also an early investor in Holberton School, right?
Yeah, that's
certainly the peak of your career.
Absolutely.
Important thing.
Absolutely. You know that I'm absolutely in love about education, because I strongly believe, regarding what our civilization is living now, that education is part of the solution. And we can directly deep dive on it if you want, but globally, we are living an amazing time, and I think that ChatGPT, that we'll certainly talk a little more after, is showing a lot. It's kind of crazy. You've got robots surviving with Elon Musk, but more the companies are working on it. I believe, the Petman and these kind of elements. And I think that cognitive tasks and physical tasks will be disrupted more and more by the system, and we don't need to be afraid about that. We need to embrace. And to embrace, it's about education, lifelong learning education.
Yes. Would love to talk about education a little bit more. But I'm not done with your bio. And I have to actually shrink it because you've done so many things. So currently, Greg, you are leading or advising applied AI vision and strategy for various ventures labs and university, including the AAICO, the
Yeah, AAICO.
Electricity AI Lab, Align Me, and the Social Science Matrix at UC Berkeley. Your goal in your life is to positively impact more than 1 billion people with knowledge discovery technologies and EdTech, with a focus on apply AI for good. How do you plan to do that?
Yeah, that's a big story. So exactly as you said, it's like too much stars in the same jacket. But what you need to understand is just thinking at a different vision about what I'm doing. It seems to be a very long list about stuff that I'm doing, but I like to explain that at the end of the day, my job is to build a supply chain of information and designing supply chain of information. And if you think about that, it's really solving puzzles. I love solving puzzles and helping teams moving forward, bring to life great people together that can take the architecture of the puzzle be defined and be solved and moving to life. It's how I can do so much things. It seems to be a lot, but at the end of the day, my role is really focused for each one. And I also, you remember our discussion about coding. Before COVID, I decided to stop managing big teams of PhD or master degrees in machine learning and AI technologies more broadly. But coming back, because I was feeling that, it was like, you are an artist and you cannot paint. And I wanted to come back on the roots, doing myself, and I'm absolutely in love to build an end-to-end from scratch, from gathering raw data to having the solution for the customer. And my career really helped me to understand that we don't care about the technology. We care about solving problems for customers, solving problems for people, helping people to grow, and using technology to make sure that we can empower people. And my main concern about that is, and that's why I was activist, as you said, I was super lucky and honored to advise at humble level the French government with Emmanuel Macron and I for Humanity strategy, because we need to make sure that this kind of technology is not only in the hand of a few like me, but can be in the hand of everyone. And that's super important. Don't be scared about this technology. Embrace this type of technology. Create your own future with this kind of technology. That's like you've got two countries. First one said, oh, candle is okay. And the second one said, no, we will embrace electricity. That's it. So why not you've got a technology with exactly the same level as electricity, and we need to embrace it, understand, making sure that we are not staying in the comfort zone, and understand how we can work and do our job better with the machine. And at the end of the day, you can ask me how I can do everything. I'm not alone. I've got plenty machine on my right that you already saw coming at home. I've got almost 20 GPUs working night and day for me. It's like I've got a team of 1,000 people working for me. That's part of my secret.
So your secret is your GPUs. Okay, noted.
My secret
go online
is
and buy some GPUs right now.
and my secret, not only GPU, also CPUs. I would say that my secret is taking a problem of my life where I'm spending a lot of time, automate with the machine to augment myself and saving time. I think that at the end of the day, I can resume my career and my work by saving time. I believe you know the story about 10,000 hours if you want to be an expert in the domain.
Yeah.
But think about how you can become an expert in 100 hours with the machine.
Yeah, I think it's a nice spin. I would say though that with like everything that's happening, like 7 years ago, you came in at Holberton School, San Francisco, and you talked to the students about AI. And right there, it was about learning about how to build that. Like it was like, light years from where we are today. It seems like it was like 20 years ago, right? But today it's like everybody have access to those AIs and like just like through an API. So if you just know JavaScript or Python, now you don't need to learn about like the difficult stuff about machine learning and deep learning and things like that. You just call an API and like it's gonna do like so many things for you. So I still believe that to build the next product or to be very good at that job, it's not just about 10 hours of reading the documentation and playing with the API, but it's also about the product that you're going to build around it. And you're still going to need those 1,000, 10,000 hours to be the expert of like plugging things together and like playing Legos, but with the right language, with the right setup, with the right security, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, it's really about. I like to compare what I'm doing daily. I love to look about cookers, stars, chef, and what I'm taking out from their work that I love to observe. Okay, I love also to go to this kind of restaurant sometime, but we don't have so much time to do that. But I love two elements: excellence, elegance. Excellence, you need to understand to know models. Today, you've got just on Hugging Face, you've got more than 100,000 models. Why you will recreate your own model? So first one. And the second one is about elegance. It's how you will create magic from that one. Because everything is there, coming back on what you were saying. And I remember you joined us at the time with some meeting with a bunch of guys in my garage or sophisticated garage, I would say, and talking about high technology, what was happening. And I don't know if you remember at this time, I was doing everything myself on the server, working on all the hyper parameters by myself, doing an amazing work that you don't need to do now. What I was doing 6-7 years ago and what I'm doing today is definitely not the same job. And why? Because the domain of high technology and machine learning and I would say information industry with machine learning is evolving at the step of 1 to 2 quarters. You've got a revolution almost by quarter. And I'm still doing a lot of presentation like today. And a few months ago, I was saying, what I'm doing today is definitely not what I was doing 3 years ago. And I was saying, okay, so in 2 to 3 years, my job will be completely different. And after what we had with OpenAI last week, and we played a lot on the night and the weekend together, we can talk about that for the hackathon that we are doing, also to show to the student that is possible, because we need to show we can lead by example. And globally, I think that my job will be different in a quarter to 12 months, not 2 to 3 years. So it's why the main advice that I'm giving to my kids, my own children directly, I'm saying, okay, do whatever you want. Don't forget that you need to wake up each morning and be happy about what you are doing, first one, but making sure that you are okay to go out of your comfort zone at any time and be aware about everything happening in the field of technology. Because what you are doing today yourself with your hands and maybe the keyboard or maybe whatever, you will need to use the machine tomorrow, because the machine will do it better than you. And don't be scared or afraid about that, but embrace the machine, because what you are doing in maybe 100% of your time, with the machine, you can do it in 10% of your time. what are you doing with the 90? You can learn, you can take some rest, you can spend time with your family. It's completely amazing. So use the machine to scale yourself.
Yeah. So you mentioned it, we're doing a hackathon right now. The idea was like to learn a little bit so that we can show the students later on. But I've been amazed at, how much we've been able to accomplish. Just like working on it like a few hours a day after work, it's just insane. Like this work would have taken, I don't know, months, probably like a quarter ago, right?
Oh, maybe, yeah. To be honest with you, I think that what we achieve, and maybe it's important, maybe at the time in this presentation to explain more, I will give you the mic for that. But globally, the end-to-end, I love to talk about end-to-end. I'm not doing AI. I don't care about AI. AI is for Hollywood. My job is very boring job. I'm creating supply chain of information. Yeah. My job is I'm an industrial guy. I'm building exactly like Tesla and any other company in the car manufacturer domain, but I'm not doing cars. I'm doing solution based on information. And for that, you've got a lot of steps and you are building a pipeline where you will do some processing at each step to achieve on what you are targeting. And you need to be aware about what is the last generation of machine that you can integrate. That's the same story of the Industrial Revolution. It's just the next step. For me, there is no revolution. There is just evolution.
Yeah, but like this one is like a major step, right? It's like
oh
the
my
evolution
yes
goes this way and then suddenly boom, right? That's why people call it revolution.
Exponential. And
at
thanks
one point
to
you have like
more
at one point you have like a piece of technology or whatever it is that just like changes drastically everything we do. And honestly, I believe that this is as big as the internet, if not bigger than that.
Agree.
And like maybe electricity, like you said before.
Yeah. And I think globally, it's the story of the civilization and humankind. We are a cognitive species. And if you are thinking, you can go back to my TEDx. That was exactly what I was explaining in 2015 in my TEDx talk. Sorry, I think it's in French, but you've got the translation in English. Yeah, and I hate to look at myself. So I think I never watched my own video. But globally, the story of the humankind is to be augmented by yourself. Think about the fact that we are exactly like a apple. We've got a life cycle, and the human being got a life cycle. We know that we will not be here in 20, 30, 40 years, whatever, depending on the age you can go. And how you can move forward and how you can transfer your knowledge. The machine is really amazing for that. We can conquer the space and the universe with machines that we can do ourselves. Okay, we are going on Mars, but there is still a lot of challenge. If you don't want to be like microwave between Earth and Mars, there is a lot of challenges. Doing by machine and AI, and NASA sent machine to space to do some exploration. And so think about the fact that maybe the goal of our civilization, I don't know, it's an idea. I would like maybe in the comments to listen from some idea from the people, but globally, is the purpose of our civilization just to create this kind of machine and AI technology that can go beyond us and expand what Earth got with maybe information, knowledge, this kind of thing. So that's kind of idea that guide me daily. And when I understood that it's more important to have knowledge than money, because you can do money with knowledge. There is a beautiful expression in the Bear who said more money than brain, and it's why education is really key. Transfer of knowledge is really key. And thanks for everything you are doing. And I'm a huge supporter of your work from day one, because it's super important to think about inclusion, not only about wealthy people who've got access to knowledge.
No, yeah, I agree. It's very important that this technology gets into the hand of like as many people as possible. Just like it's just like technology, but like times a million in terms of impact. And if only a fraction of the population has access to that, we're going into a world which is like a world that I don't want my children to grow in. So yeah, I 100%, and that's what we're doing every day at ALX too. So, but like maybe can we take a step back, Greg? And do you think you could explain, in simple words, for our audience, how do these AI work? How does ChatGPT work?
Oh my, ChatGPT is based on reinforcement learning with human feedbacks. Globally, you can think about a machine based on multimodals working together. You've got large language model that can do some inferences, a model thinking about the feedback with the human in the loop, understanding what is happening. I understood in presentation from Sam Altman, they spent something like 10 million of annotation on feedback, which seems completely crazy. And
just for the audience, like Sam Altman is the CEO of OpenAI, who's the company behind ChatGPT.
Yeah, correct. And go on my LinkedIn. I shared a video with certainly one of the last one before they released publicly ChatGPT. And that's super interesting to watch the video and said he knew that they will launch ChatGPT when he was answering the question, and is really concerned about inclusion, education, helping people to move forward on going out of the comfort zone, understand how to work with the machine. And also for you that watching this video and this live session now, go test, play with. That's super important. And you don't need to understand all the deep concepts behind, because one of the magic now, exactly as you explained, when I started, we needed to understand all the math behind to make sure that we can make it work. I remember with my best friend, Louis Monnier, doing math at the whiteboard, try to understand how math behind are working. And okay, we are lucky because we are both math teachers. and so it was okay for us to do this kind of exercise, and because we like this kind of exercise, but this kind of exercise is not solving a customer or user problem. And it's good for us, but it's not solving the problem at the end. So now what is completely amazing, you've got this technology almost out of the box. And thanks to companies like OpenAI that are definitely democratizing this kind of technology, you can access on it. Just think about the hackathon we made together. We just used API and creating the glue between the APIs. Okay, it's a particular glue. You need to understand, you need to be in love about the data, because creating a function for a form online or creating a function to manage data is definitely not the same job. You need to understand how the data is living. I love to compare data to weather, explain you've got plenty different type of weather, from a lake to the sea to the ocean to river, and it's exactly the same kind. You've got different types of features and parameters for your data, like you've got the velocity, the density, the quality, a lot of information that you can understand from that, and you need to be in love to create the beautiful glue to make appear the magic. And it's coming back to excellence level, elegance level. You cannot solve by math. You need to think out of the box and create magic around that.
Yeah, it's like, you're mentioning the glue, but just to make sure everybody understands, the glue is still software engineering. So I just saw a question on on the chat asking, like it was, I think from Judith, you know, she says, I don't want to do software engineering again. I want to do AI. But like the reality, like if you want to do AI, you have to be a very good software engineer now, right? So if you want to do AI, you still want to do software engineering, because the glue that Greg is talking about is actually like pure software. Like it was like Python most of the time. And like also like Greg made me do like JavaScript. It's like it was a nightmare, but I did it for him because I love him. But like all of those things were like software engineering, like basics. So like master the basics of software engineering if you want to take full advantage of those AI. If you do not know how to learn, like if you don't know how to code, you still like can play with it. You know, like last week we did a session with, you know, Mid-Journey. So you can like create art with like a few keywords. You can go online and play with Chat GPT. I'll put the link in the chat in a few seconds. And then like you can like just like play with it and like use it in your life every day. You can like, you know, write resumes with it. You can like ask like a lot of questions, like maybe not math, like it's not very good at math. But like you know, you can even ask them like, hey, like I have this bug, can you help? It's very interesting, you know, like it's about like everything but mathematics and physics, you know, like some of the questions I put, like they don't understand yet. But like software engineering is at the heart of it. It's like you still want to focus on that, right, Greg?
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest with you, as I don't know if we talk out of the live or at the start of the live, but that's also why I personally decided to come back to my roots, to come back to the code. And today I think that I'm spending something between 50 to 70 or maybe 80% of my time, depending on the weeks and meetings, blah, 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 coding myself. Because I cannot lead my teams if I don't understand deeply everything. And I really try each time to be on top of the front, understanding everything, making sure that I can detect the trends. Because sometimes it's more efficient to use the last model, as I said, you quarter revolution. So you need to be aware about everything. And you need to understand how to build it yourself if you want to guide the team. But at the end of the day, it's exactly as you said. If I'm looking about my job, it's certainly, I would like to say that I moved from math, from being a mathematician, doing machine learning stuff, building models myself, to using out-of-the-box models, to right now creating the glue myself and building machine learning end-to-end pipeline. And one of the key elements that you need to understand is about the flow of everything. And exactly as you said, the glue is definitely like software engineering. I'm coding in Python, and we can, what is absolutely incredible is you can by yourself building end-to-end pipeline in such a short time that it was not possible before. And I like to think a project at different levels. First one, the main focus is not solving the model. The main focus is bringing to life the end-to-end pipeline. And after, think your model that you can be agnostic. You can unplug and plug the new model. Because if you are building an end-to-end pipeline with too strongly connected between each layers, you cannot unconnect your model to put a new one with definitely better, because sometimes you win 10 points on the quality. And you need to think about the whole architecture that make you possible to evolve very quickly, very fast. You need to move fast and making sure that everything you are building can evolve and adopt new technology. Sometimes, as I said, you can win 10 points just moving to the new generation model. And that is maybe also more simple to implement.
Yeah, 100% agree. So You mentioned Python. It seems that this is the language to get into if you really want to get into AI, right?
Yeah. It's mainly coming from it's historical. Globally coming from the research community that used Python at first, and you got so many incredible library now on Python. And so Python is definitely one of the language. I believe there is some others, but I'm fully biased guy. I was a long time on .NET, C#, VB, if you're looking online, and I completely switched my career more than 10 years fully on Python, and I'm coding daily on Python. Also, as I can do everything I want with, I don't need to move to any other language unless I've got a friend who is calling me and said, Greg, you need to do JavaScript. I said, oh my goodness, you are crazy. And
yeah, but that's my life. It's not yours yet. But like definitely next hackathon, you're taking care of the front end.
okay, no,
And I'm gonna check
no,
your JavaScript.
no, thank you. No,
So,
I know also where are my limits. And I know where I can do good stuff. Many based also, maybe an advice for the people watching us, it's also do yourself. Don't just listen classes online. It's good to do that, to read documentation. I'm in love about doing that, but you need to practice.
yeah, it's all about like, this is like the best way to learn, right? That's how we do it at Holberton. That's how we do it at ALX. It's like project-based learning. If you just read something and you think you understand, and suddenly you get in front of a terminal, you have no idea how to do this, right? Because you haven't learned. And like the only way, like it's not the only way, but like it's one of the best way to learn is to actually do it.
And it's definitely more relevant for machine learning. Because don't forget that you are dealing with something more than software engineering. It's software engineering, but you are dealing with a component who is not directly stable. I would say that the developer is stable, and you've got data, and you don't know about the data. It's the problem about generalization of the data. You think that you train your model, you've got an amazing accuracy, like 92, 95 that you can expect now with attention mechanism and transformers, mainly on natural language. Don't forget that I'm natural language guy, as you explained globally. And you are moving in the real life, and the accuracy of your model is dropping off to maybe 60, 70. You said, how it's possible to move from 90 to 60? That's just about generalization. Generalization is the capability to, if I can try to translate, like for my mom, or anyone who is not in the field. My mom is not in the field of machine learning. And it's globally the capability of the model to understand concepts and not only data that the model saw, and capability to move on new type of data and try to extract patterns who are close to what you understood with the former data. And that's kind of key problem. We've got generalization in our domain. We need to be careful about the sparsity of the data we are using, how we can prune or distill the data, making sure that we are still pushing to the model good level of understanding about what you are looking. And I think that now with ChatGPT, GPT-3, and any models more close to zero shot or few shot learning that I'm absolutely in love, and I deploy in production zero shot and few shot learning already. I started when I saw zero shot, I said, oh my, I'm in love about that. Because it's so close. You can create something which is more close to the human, how the human is thinking. And we are learning through concepts. We are not, I'm not showing 10,000 images of an elephant to my daughter. I'm explaining to her what is an elephant in plain language. And she can abstract, that's the concept of generalization. She can abstract, and we can go to the zoo and she will show me a monkey, said, that's not an elephant. And when we will be in front of an elephant, she will say, Dad, is it an elephant? I will say yes, and she will connect the image with the concept I teach her.
So that's the concept of the zero shot, right? That you just explained.
Yeah, zero shot. No. Sorry, that's how I'm using zero shot or few shot learning. But the concept is completely
zero shot?
Zero shot is the capability of a model to abstract a type of a class based on just one to a few example records. You show one, and Globality's one is based on large language model. Large language model are called foundation model now. Everything you've got almost on Hugging Face at the start, like BERT, Roberta, Electra, big models, GPT, T5, this kind of models are more, and please go and read yourself. And there is a beautiful book, I don't have it here, from Thomas Wolfe from Hugging Face. We can put in the comment, I can send you the link after, where you've got good information and explanation. You've got a chapter focused on zero shot learning. But zero shot is really amazing in the kind that you can explain a concept in plain language exactly as you are doing for your children. And few shot learning with contrastive approach. So globally, you explain what is an elephant, but you also providing information about what is not the elephant. So I will explain you an elephant, but also explain you what is a monkey to make sure that you don't merge both concepts.
Got it. I've seen like it's been like a few months, but like Twitter has been taken by storm by AI, right? It's like everybody's talking about this. I saw like arts. We've done like a lot of art with this, like last week. But it's not just that, and like I can see like some kind of polarization of the community. Like there's those who are like embracing it and like so enthusiastic at it. Like there's like still this group of people saying, yeah, like it's a cool toy, but really like what's the point? Can you tell us about like cool applications you've seen, application of those AIs? Like cool products or like maybe impact projects that you've heard of?
Yeah, I think this new generation, because now we are really living a switch. It's a big revolution now, and you never understand what is happening when it's happening. You need some time. In French, I don't know if you can help me to translate that. Vous n'êtes jamais contemporain de votre présent. And so globally, we will need some time to digest everything who is arriving now, but we will certainly have almost all the type of cognitive tasks that will be disrupted with this kind of new technology. And it's really the prompt area. We will definitely leave the time where we were annotating data to train a model, to teach a model, to now moving to the validation time. You are providing prompts to the model and you confirm that the system is doing well the job, which is exactly the case of ChatGPT. You've got thumbs up, thumbs down. That's what we call the human in the loop, which is super important.
So coming back on making us work for them. That's what they do.
Oh, right? Yeah. Never forget, if it's free, you are the yeah, absolutely. If you don't pay for it, that the product is you. And if you are looking about the history of ChatGPT, there is a beautiful article. I will try to find it and give you back that you can post after on the link. But there is a beautiful article explaining the whole story from GPT-3 to Instruct GPT to GPT 3.5 with why not the intermediate release for GPT 4.0 that will certainly arrive next year. And think about, you've got Earth, planet, and the sun, GPT 3.5, GPT 4. what you get today will be like prehistory in something like 6 months.
It's insane.
Yeah, that's insane. And also to, I'm doing AI, but for my different ventures project and all the work we are doing at AAICO is really amazing with the amazing team we've got and other projects I'm involved in. But globally, I started using myself. I said, okay, I cannot convince and say to the people in front of me, whatever it's at AAICO, line, electricity, Zero System, NASA, or at the university that I'm working with at UC Berkeley, I cannot come and look at the people and say, you need to do that if I'm not doing for myself. It's about dog fooding. And I started, that's my principle. I'm applying, and that's how I can augment myself. When you said how you do everything, as I explained you, I've got machine doing the job for me. Okay, I deserve just the fact that I created the machine doing the job for me. And with exactly what we made together for the hackathon, but I started using ChatGPT daily. And I wanted to observe myself. And when ChatGPT arrived in the press and there was wow of people, you saw that in 3 days, they get more than 1 million, why not certainly 10 million people using ChatGPT with the most impressive scale of users in the world of internet. And I came on the website, I opened and they said, too many users, you cannot use it. And I was stressed. I said, oh, no, please. I need to have access because I will lose so many time. I will not explain you everything I'm doing this because I like to keep some secret around that. But I think that already ChatGPT saved me in a week 30% of my time. No kidding. 30% of my time. I can do stuff that I was not able to do, not about knowledge or skills, about time. We are in an area and a time of the human species where we are using machine to compress time.
It's I really like the way you put it, and I think it's a big part of the answer to the question. I'm a software engineer, or AI going to take over my job, or going to take over my job, right? Because is it going to replace all the software engineers, or is it going to make sure that those software engineers are like even more efficient than before? Just like before, we didn't have C, and then we had Python, and then we have like all those libraries, and then we had the internet and the iPhone, and it created a lot of opportunities for people who would embrace those technologies, right? Like people who are like still stuck in Fortran, or you could tell me that banks are still hiring Fortran developers. But essentially, to me, it's either you're gonna stay there and be disrupted by technology, whatever it is. Today is AI, tomorrow it might be something different, or you can embrace it and get even better. And I think you touched base on this a few seconds ago, but also like previously in the conversation. It's about embracing the new technology to make yourself better, and that's how you need to think. So it's really about, it's a state of mind. If you have the right state of mind, for me, you're gonna be like any new technology is going to be beneficial. But if you are the type of person who doesn't want to go outside of the comfort zone and like prefers to mock the new technology and ChatGPT did answer this or that, and it's funny, it's never going to work, then I think you're in big trouble. What's your position on that?
I think you resume completely my position. Definitely, any type of technology like electricity, nuclear energy, but also car, also TV, is coming with a life cycle. The first step is it will never work. I remember a part of my career where people were looking at me and saying, Greg, why are you doing NLP? It will never work. The second step is OMG, it's working, we will all die. And the last step with the plateau is how we did before that. Think about electricity. Look at the story and the history of electricity between Tesla, that I'm absolutely in love about the person and the scientist and all the work he made, and Edison. If you are looking about the work they made and all the story moving from it will never work, you need to fight to raise money to do your work, and after moving to a moment that it's working, but we will all die. I believe you know the story about Edison proving that the work of Tesla is killing people and animals, and after moving to everything around us, we are not online together without these guys, without this kind of technology. And that's exactly the same one. And software engineer will be still there in a few years and for the rest of the life. And I believe that software engineer is really one of the most incredible job that you can do today. I love to say to my kids, do whatever you want, but you need to learn to code. Because coding equal, you will have revenue anytime. You will have income anytime. You can code, you will be able to hit. It's the new trend. It's the new job, and we are, and we like about talents today. We need to have more people going into this kind of job. That's why I'm so thankful for AAICO and Holberton to do this kind of job, because we need to have more and more people learning how to code. And it's completely okay. You know, I was doing classes for my children and wife, and we were doing some classes on the Sunday morning, teaching them how to code in Python. And because it changed how you are thinking, it's helping your brain to better understand the logic behind the machine. You don't need to be an expert. But if you can understand how the machine is working, you can work well with the machine and understand, you know, ChatGPT is not magical at the end behind. It's just math. But you need to understand what is the limit of ChatGPT. Don't ask everything to ChatGPT. I believe you saw some of my posts with example that I tested. Okay, ChatGPT got lack on context knowledge for the moment. Whatever is doing a pretty decent job. We made a test with one of my colleagues asking to ChatGPT, is the earth flat? And the answer was absolutely amazing because it was right. He explained super well and said, okay, it's a global concept that some people are thinking, but no, and I will explain you why. And we said, oh, wow. But you can fool the system at a time because it's a machine. We are so far from sentient and beautiful dream of machine that will take over the world and everything like that. We need to stop about that. It's just a machine. And we need to use the machine to improve ourselves. We need to think about human-centric. Put the people at the center and machine around. And to make sure that we've got a better life. And yeah, that's mainly the point. Sorry, I was a little long.
No, it's fine. It's like it's so interesting to hear like your perspective. You know, you being like in the middle of AI since like 2 decades, right? It's like
yeah, I started in 92.
In 92.
Yeah,
okay.
92. Yeah, a long time ago in a far, far away galaxy. And you know what I like to say? I'm not smarter than anyone here watching the video. I just started super early and I made thousands of mistakes. But I learned from my mistakes. And now I think it's time, and thank to you to give me the opportunity to share the payback. And said, okay, everything I'm seeing here is just data for you, for your own life model. Take everything we are discussing with Julien and take it for you and said, okay, they say that I'm okay, I'm not okay, and you need to build your own version of the model of life. And we made so many mistakes that it's very important we are sharing.
Yes, I did a ton of mistakes throughout my career, and that's
Yeah.
basically like it's a lot of people say like you need to do mistakes to learn. I don't know if that's true. I think the mistakes are the result of trying new things, and that's trying new things that makes you a better person and like make you grow. And like if you try new things, you're gonna have to make mistakes. Like there's no other way around that. Um, and yeah, it's and I
You
think
definitely need to polish yourself. It's really about polishing yourself.
yeah, and we talked a lot about this with the students. It's always about pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone and make sure you're a better person versus like
Correct.
yourself a week ago. And if you in a world that grows constantly and like moves so fast with like all those new disruptive technologies, it's not just about code, it's not just about AI, it's about like everything else right now. Like the world is moving so fast, you have to constantly learn, you have to do hard things.
Yeah.
You don't want to be scared about new things, you want to embrace them. Like some of the things you're not going to like, but like play with that first. And again, like the best way to learn is to actually experience it. So if you code, like try to like go online and like build something on top of those APIs, just like Greg and I are doing right now. Like we are like both experts in our field, but we're still like doing a hackathon to like learn faster and like play with the AI and play with the APIs. And it's the first time I'm doing this, and I've learned like a ton of things thanks to that. So like
and I want to give you the reward about that, because I was not fully on board when you came back to me say, Greg, let's do that. I say, oh my, I've got so busy there already. And you kicked my ass until I said, okay, let's do it. And you are absolutely right. And I want to thank you about that, because I was already aware regarding my job, how fast we can move with implementation, but I was not thinking that it was possible to move at this kind of level as we did. I would say in a few words, and I know that you've got more words than me. And thanks to take your night time and weekend time about that. But globally, I'm absolutely amazed and broken-minded about what we built in such a few hours.
Yeah, I am too, and I can't wait to show the students like how we can play with that, and hopefully like a lot of you guys who are like listening to us, you're gonna build on top of those APIs and those AIs after you've heard us about I've heard like doing this too. Greg, we're talking a lot about ChatGPT, GPT-3, DALL-E, Midjourney, but there's actually like a ton of companies like building like AIs right now, like all the big guys included, right? Microsoft, Facebook, Nvidia also. I looked at their last AI. I think it's called Get 3D, and like it's an Nvidia AI, and essentially with a prompt you can build like 3D models that you can then, and like with the texture, and then you can like include those models in like your AR VR product or your game product. It's absolutely insane. What's your favorite AI right now? And like you cannot answer any AI product.
I'm absolutely biased on that one, as you can imagine. I'm absolutely in love about language and knowledge. Globally, I think it's really the purpose of our civilization and humankind. But what you need to what we need to understand is the explosion time now. It's a time where you've got a technology with latent, people don't trust really using or not, and at the time you've got the explosion, like the Big Bang, and everyone is coming. And why we've got such kind of acceleration now? Because before that, I remember a discussion where we were at the end of the winter about this kind of new architecture, and where people like Jan LeCun or Hinton or Benjo were the godfather of deep learning, moving to this new area that we will jump in. And now you've got more and more people coming, said, okay, that's where I need to do my PhD. That's where I need to do my research. And when you see the explosion of the numbers of the papers and also technology frameworks, everyone is working on it because it's the new trend. And that's why you've got such kind of explosion now, because before that, you will never take the risk to do some work on that because it's not good for your career. There was only such crazy people like us saying, okay, we are convinced that that's the direction. We need to go in this direction. That's it. I remember with my colleague, we were, Greg Sene, we were working on Elmo and some first level of transformers and attention mechanisms before it was really trend. And I would like that follow your intuition, train yourself, teach yourself by reading a lot and practice and follow your intuition. Anytime I did not follow my intuition, I made mistakes. And what I absolutely love is about accessibility to the information. Everything around that is really amazing because it's directly related to education, learning, growing, moving faster. And I think it's also, it's amazing. And at the same time, it's a big risk for all civilization because we need to make sure that there is not only a few people who got access to that. Think about the fact that you've got someone like you or me coming with a zipper in front of a man cave. You do light. What is happening? The guy in front of you will look at say God. And that's where we need to be careful because we are just mathematicians. You know, people in the AI industry need at the time to be regulated. And we need to make sure that this knowledge is going to everyone, that everyone can have access and understand the technology, that the technology is not like too much magical. You know, doing what we did, like pushing a URL, having the result at the end that I will let you explain after, can be like magical for someone who don't know anything about this kind of technology and look at you and say, oh my, you are a wizard? How you are doing that? And if not a wizard, maybe you are God. And that's why we need to be super careful about this kind of technology, making sure, I will repeat myself again and again and again because it's super important.
I agree. Greg, last question before we take questions from the audience. You mentioned sentient AI. Let's talk about AGI. How do you think, how far are we from sentient AIs?
Oh my, that's a question that...
Possible? Is it even possible?
Oh my, that's a question which is very hard to answer. I will try to do an essay, but think about the fact that it's already very difficult in our domain to predict or explain where we will be in a year as it's moving so fast. Don't forget that a year is like 4 revolution cycles, which is completely crazy. You know, you've got the car, you've got the new car, it's 8 years. Okay, Tesla tried to do better, which is amazing, by the way, and certainly about the software update, everything like that. But a quarter, a year, it's like 4 revolutions. So I don't think we will have any time a machine working like you and I and any people here around the table watching the video. I think we will have machine that can give you the impression or give you the sense that it's working like you and me. But whatever, you will have someone behind the machine. And that's what I'm most scared about. Who is in control of the machine? Who can manage this machine that seems to be so efficient that as a normal human with like you and I, if you are not aware about this kind of technology, you can think it's sentient because it gives you the feedback that you feel that it's sentient. That was exactly the story with Lambda. And from Google, I believe you saw about all the news online and everything. And it's a big discussion we need to have, for sure, yes. it's more about governance. We need to review the worldwide governance. I don't want to blame any company doing this kind of job, because why? They are the best student in the class. They are playing the rule of the world. They understand technology, and they are the best in math. That's it. You cannot blame to be the best in math, but you can think about changing the rule, how you are managing that, not at the level of the class or the level of the game of the economy, but at the level of the civilization. It's a problem that politicians and worldwide governance need to take care. And I was so happy because I was at NoWebs 2 weeks ago, and we had the head of AI from the White House that came and talked to us about governance of AI, how we need to make sure that we will include everyone, about the transparency, about managing the biases. Because tomorrow and today already, that for a lot, but our civilization will be more and more managed by this kind of machine. I know that it seems to be crazy, but I posted on LinkedIn an article a few weeks ago about, is the future for civilization is to be governed by AI technology? I think yes. And I think saying that will create scandal now to the people who say, oh, you are crazy, we cannot do that. Okay, think about the 3 steps of the life cycle of any disruption technology. No, that's not possible. We will all die how we did before. Think about Google managing, and they are doing such an amazing job in this field. And thanks to, I want also to thank you. I met Thomas Wolf from Hugging Face. The first thing I met is to go to him and say, thank you, Thomas. Thank you for what you are doing, because you are making this kind of such crazy technology accessible for more and more and more people daily and daily and daily. And I think it's very important that we can make sure that everyone got access. Think about Google. They try to optimize the energy consumption by human. And they said, I don't remember how many. And I'm providing just some metrics. I don't have think about that and search online to have the good level, but it was like you can save 5% with the human, try to optimizing. You give all the data of the data center and energy consumption to the machine, and the machine is optimizing 40%. Think about that. Think about this kind of machine and model that we still don't understand, we still not have maybe applied to organization, to company. I love thinking about what Sam Altman said in the video that I shared on LinkedIn about, I think at the time he was saying, think about when they were discussing about sentient machine, he was saying, think about tomorrow you come with a poem said, bootstrap the new $1 billion company. And boom, you've got the machine trying to do that. I don't know if it's possible, but that's kind of crazy idea we can think. Let's dream. And exactly as I was saying at the start of our discussion, I love to look at science fiction movie and say to my children, oh my, that was 10 years ago in the movie. I'm using daily today. And you know, you need at the time to dream big to make crazy stuff.
Okay, so more AI at the government is the conclusion of this discussion.
We will see, but if I need to put money on something, I will do that. Maybe before the end of our life, maybe not in the 5-10 years, but don't think about the uncanny
as a tool without telling us first, right? Because it's probably the next step is they just use it as a tool before it can like actually replace some of the people over there. And in like a few cycles, when people are okay with that, and when the AI is over there, maybe the AI is the president. I don't know.
No, I will not. I will never replace human by machine. I will augment the human with the machine. And also, one of the recommendations I would like and I was lucky to be in the field of natural language because it's a system 1, system 2 thing fast. I don't remember exactly. You know, it's an incredible book. That is what I think fast and slow, or I don't remember exactly, but globally the concepts, and it was also presented by endtoend with the new paradigm approach about the backpropagation, moving to a new concept. I will let you go on Narib's video to better understand. But globally, AI machine are not only one model. You've got system 1, like I catch a ball with system 1 is like, boom. If we are discussing together as we are driving in the car, we are managing so many different kind of models inside of our brain. That one is called system 2. And the new generation of AI and the generation now of AI is mainly system 2. I'm just building system 2. It's super complex. When I say super complex, it's super easy by model because you've got the model out of the box, but you need to unconstruct the logic of the human to build the machine. And from that point, I love to say that as my career is evolving, I'm thinking myself less and less as a mathematician or machine learning or AI guy, but more and more as a sociologist. I need to be in love about the humankind to understand how they are processing and understand all the processes coming back and implement to the machine. And for that, I need to have the excellence level to understand this type of task that you are doing with natural neuron. How can I move to silicon neuron and create the same kind of magic?
But with this model, though, you would not have the AI be better than the human. You would like, we would be like, if you try to replicate ourselves, then, you know, we're going to have a plateau at which, you know, you can't go past. So maybe there's like other models that are like more efficient than ours. And maybe the AI will tell us that. I don't know.
Yeah. And that's the point. If I remember, I think that Sam Altman, and please watch the video because I watch it in my gym and sometimes I'm missing some part. But I think he was saying that we'll be in front of something close to what we can perceive as sentient in something like 1 to 2 decades. That was the prediction of I've got so many books here. Kurzweil. Ray Kurzweil. I don't know if you remember the book he wrote maybe more than 10 years ago, and predicting about that we will achieve singularity point. The book is Singularity, something like that. And it was the time when I was a guest on, I was going to Singularity summits. I don't know if you knew this kind of stuff. That was really amazing because you had only crazy people thinking about crazy technology, discussing about that potential. And I think my root is coming from there. I love to watch science fiction to take inspiration and say, now with my knowledge, I think we can do that, or we can do that. But definitely system 1, system 2, and exponential growing.
All right, Greg. Before we go, let's take a few questions from the chat. Do you see the chat yourself?
Yeah, I see the chat. By the way, thank you. I saw someone said, I love your accent. I think you are the first one worldwide to say that to me. Thank you.
Okay, so guys, shoot your questions, and Greg will try to answer as many as possible in the shortest time as possible.
Yeah. Please go and choose some element. I'm seeing a question about does I mean governance. Definitely machine can give you better understanding about the world around you because you've got so many data information that you can take decision based on non-complete data. That's what I would like to recommend to governance, and there is so many data. Never, I like to say to my students or Padawans or becoming Jedi right now for a lot of them, because I'm 42, as you know, forever. And but globally, I never had any data issue in my career. And I can now say that I don't think I will have for the rest of my career. And I hope that I'm at the middle of my career. But what is clear, you got so many data online that it's super hard for political person in power about the country or nation or maybe just the town to have the full understanding. I remember working with a brand I cannot disclose, I'm sorry about that, working on customers' reviews, like 40,000 customers' reviews a day. How you can understand what your customers are saying daily? It's not human level. We created a machine to do that based on zero shot and few shot learning. And we were able to break down from unstructured data to structured data to provide a clear vision about everything happening that you can remove from 2 weeks to understand just one insight to a few hours, to a few minutes. Use the machine to augment yourself. So that's why I think this kind of system need to be accessible for people in charge of big responsibility. And it's our duty as data scientists to help them for better society, we hope. But I'm not completely blind. I try to be careful about how I'm designing the tool, because we know that this kind of tool can be used for what we didn't predict at the start. I'm going to some element. I'm seeing someone who said I try to develop my skills in our network. My question is what I can do to dive into IML jobs. Take the decision to do it. Do it. Do exactly as we did over the last week and the last weekend. Jump in a hackathon. Don't be scared. You will certainly fail at the start. A key element is very important to understand. There is definitely a time you need to learn, because I love in the barrier particular element, you can have a barbecue and speaking about quantum computing. And many part of the time when we've got people who are not in the field, they can come and say, guys, you are speaking English, but I don't understand anything about what you are saying, because it's about the vocabulary. The good point is when you've got the vocabulary, you can shine in a party with absolutely amazing for your ego. And
especially with a beautiful accent of yours.
Yeah, especially with a beautiful accent like mine. And but globally, that's clearly the point. You know, it's like martial art. When you are starting martial art, you will have the first year, it will be hard. You will not be able to do the moves. You don't understand, your body don't want, because it's movement you never met before. You need to work on your resilience level. Continue. Fail fast, learn fast, move forward. And that's the key element. You need to take care about that. And you will see after, you know, it's exactly like a project as we discussed. It's about, you've got the bootstrap, acceleration, and the plateau. And never forget that the plateau is the start of a new bootstrap. That's about going out of the comfort zone. And certainly in the field of AI, but globally, start yourself, go on hackathon, find some classes online. If you are in love about natural language, what I can just recommend, go on Hugging Face. You've got plenty of classes that are doing an amazing job for the community. You can teach yourself, by yourself. You've got also amazing classes that you created at AAICO and Holberton. So go and practice. Don't think that I bound with everything directly in place. No, as I said, my job is definitely a boring job, like a monk, and working on the data, being in love about the data, experimenting, doing POCs, learning myself, and moving forward at the next step. So recommendation is just practice, practice, and practice. And at the time, you will very quickly see improvement. And also read papers. Whatever if it's hard. When I started reading papers, I said, oh my, I got the headache now. Oh my. And when I can read the paper and say, okay, this concept is interesting. This concept is interesting. And I'm sharing with my teams. We are discussing about that, taking the time to digest, because it's super important that you can digest also these kind of concepts and information to after build magic. Project on machine learning at AAICO. I think you've got the proof that Julian will certainly push more and more for that. Certainly doing feedback.
I think we're going to organize I think I'm going to enroll students to an hackathon about AI, just like we did, but probably January. So if you guys are excited about this, AAICO or non-AAICO students, just like ping me on Twitter and I'll ping you when this happens.
Very interesting question. As I said, I love to think myself more and more as a sociologist or philosopher about that. And we are discussing a lot with one of your friends too, Mario Moro, about geopolitics and when we are able to cross, and that's kind of stuff we try to do. We'll not disclose some element for next year, but follow Mario Moro, very interesting stuff about geopolitics. And my view of the world is, if we are successful on the fact that we can make sure that high-level people can embrace this technology, I'm absolutely positive about next decade. If we fail on that, we need to prepare ourselves for a revolution. And that's why education is really key. Lifelong learning, not only education from 0 to 25, but also lifelong education. Making sure that you are a lawyer, who is certainly one of the jobs that will be the most disrupted in the following months and years. You are a lawyer, you want to stay on the top of your work, and you need to be aware about technology that can augment yourself. One of the work we made at FDL with the Frontier Development Lab, you asked me about explaining what you are doing. It's summer camp. Yeah, that's a summer camp where we are. James Parr is the CEO. We are hosted with Bill at SETI, NASA here in the Bay, who is completely amazing. I love to go sometime when we've got the meeting at Ames. You get the guard with the gun and you are coming with your car, your ID. Can I go in? That's so fun. And what we are doing, we are taking scientists working on some crazy project that's not solvable completely by science. And we are taking machine learning people working together. Last year, I was focused on 2 projects: how we can extract through natural language and knowledge extraction information from scientists, and to solve any problem on science, but also focus on the second project on hydrogen energy. Because if you are looking at the work of a scientist in this kind of field, the scientist is spending certainly something like 60% of their time searching in the papers, in the information online. What happens if we take this 60% and compress to 6%? Imagine how we can accelerate the problem of energy consumption.
Yeah, the compression of time that you referenced to right now and earlier in the session is a very cool way to put those things. And I think it's related to one question that I have, and I see like Michael Boileau reference this question too in the chat. It's like, you mentioned like reading papers, but like the field is going so fast and there's so much information. So what are your tips for monitoring news in the field?
I created a machine for myself.
Yeah.
I've got that's part of my type of secret. It's a long time project. That was a side project that I work on, and we are not doing exactly that, but with a group of friends, we decided to bootstrap a new company, Electricity.ai, on top of that to make it available for broader person. And we've got an amazing technology, but we still need to think about how to do the go-to-market. It's too early to share anything now. But globally, I created 9 years ago on my side time project, a machine that can understand who I am. And that was part of my presentation at Deep Learning Summit 7-8 years ago, where I proposed an idea about people to vec, how we can use your vocabulary is the reflect and the mirror of your soul. But I can use, if I'm listening from you, Julian, I know exactly who you are. You've got a vocabulary as an engineer, coding person from particular culture, religion, blah, 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 blah. And that's how we started working. It's close from Bourdieu theory, la distinction. That was teaching in France and in UC Berkeley. And that's how we started the lab at Berkeley, using this kind of technology to work on. It's online. You can find all the information. We are using this kind of technology to better understand about threats against the democracy. And globally, you can use this. I created this type of technology to have a machine that can understand me, who I am. This machine got daily a perfect reflect about myself based on my publication. Moving this concept to another machine that is going online, reading all the news, like 20,000 newspapers and more per day, and selecting the top N I need to read daily. And that's how I augmenting myself and making sure that I'm all the time aware about what is happening and not missing any information. I don't need to read everything, but I just need some time just to read the title and be aware that it's happening something there to have a weak signal. That's kind of use cases that you can think about. There is so many others to augment yourself. Think about just take a whiteboard and put on the whiteboard time you are spending daily, and think if the machine can do it for you, do it. Code it. You will save so many time to you.
So that's your answer as a software engineer. But like, let's just say I don't have the time to build this. You started like 9 years ago. What would be your trick and your tip to like follow what's happening right now? If I don't have this time yet.
Follow. Thank you. That's a good question. Follow the right people. Let the social network. Because that's exactly what my machine is doing. My machine is doing what I was doing before myself. And you can start by that. It will take more time to you, but it's really definitely a good start. Following the right people that are doing this kind of amazing filter for you. And never hesitate to contact the people. You know, you need to find inspiring people and said, okay, it's nothing about being jealous. It's about having inspiration to where you want to go. And, taking inspiration, that I'm a big fan of your work and you are an inspiration for me. And moving forward in this kind of direction, you can start by that with the first step. And after, decide what you want to become, contact the people. Never forget that you are becoming the average of the 5 people you are meeting the most in a day. You need to make sure that you've got around you people that can help you to grow. I'm in love and I completely respect, and I'm still in touch with my friend from day one. But in my work daily, I really try to be surrounded by people that will help me to grow, not only on the math level, but also on a lot of other elements that will help me to be a better person tomorrow.
I think it's a great conclusion to end this discussion, Greg. Greg, I want to say, like, from everybody, thank you so much to take the time to talk to us. It's been an hour and a half of a discussion. Like, I was amazed about like everything you just said, and I'm so excited about the field of AI, and I hope you guys are too. Thank you so much, Greg.
My pleasure. And thank you for everything you are doing.
2 hours to finish and wrap up our hackathon. All right, everybody. Have a good day. Have a good night.
See you
depending
tonight.
on where
Bye.
you are. And let's see you very soon. Bye-bye.
Take care. And go practice.
And go practice. Learn by doing.